Welcome to another episode of Building Connections Doral Talks. I'm your host, Betty Gonzalez, and today I want to really talk to you about the real reasons of the importance that you play a role when we're selling your home. There's a lot of stuff that we just don't have any control over as real estate agents, and that's what I want to talk to you about, that we don't have full control on the involvement to make a massive difference on how quickly we can sell your property if we don't have your help. So I'm going to cover some of those points today, so let us begin. Again, thank you for connecting with me today. I'm a little late, but yet again, I'm here. So now let me tell you what we're going to talk about. This is mostly on the buyer side more than the seller side. And this happens all the time, believe it or not. A lot of clients want to ask after the sale of their property, they want to know if you're able to take the property off the market. Like the pictures of the property, like whatever was in the MLS, whatever you see on Zillow, and Realtor.com and so on. Now, this is really hard and this is out of the agent's control, mainly because once we as realtors, when we do our marketing, that's part of our products that we actually offer to the clients. And they serve as examples of how our work, how we provide service to you as a client. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So if you're a seller, a lot of times sellers hire us based on our marketing materials, on how well we present the property. That's one thing. The other thing is that a lot of agents invest a lot of money in paying professional people, photographers, to pay for these pictures, and sometimes they have drones of the property, and that is one thing. The other part is that once the property syndicates, once it's on the MLS, it leaves the MLS. It goes to other websites that also advertise your property. Once this happens, it's like it's like the cat is out of the bag, for example. You have no control of that. Even if you take it off the MLS, for example, let's say that the listing agent, okay, so I am the buyer's agent representing the buyers, and I could call the other agent to ask them to please take them off. Just know that I, as a buyer's agent, have no control of that. First of all, because I didn't pay for those pictures, and that was not my listing. That was the other person's listing, and this was an agreement. Some will take it off. But even if they do take it off of the MLS, what I want to let you know is that they syndicate it to other websites, and it's now out in the web, and some of these pictures will still be lingering out there. So it will be very hard to take off. So it is really out of the agent's hands at this moment, unfortunately. Now, what I could say is if you feel like you need, because you feel like you want to have more safety in your property, the truth is nowadays you can probably, the way that you come back, that maybe you can buy a security system to help protect you and and your loved ones. So this is just what I wanted to make sure that this is for you. If you're a buyer and you're requesting this to your buyer's agent, it might be very difficult for that to actually happen. And even if the other agents take your request into consideration and take it down of the MLS, that does not mean that other websites are not going to have those pictures on the internet. So that's something that I wanted to say. So something very important that I wanted to mention in this episode right now is when offers come in versus when your home has the most value. I cannot say this enough. The most value that any property ever has is the very first day that they come on the market. And if your agent did the right job to advertise it and do pre-marketing before people actually was able to come into the property, how do they do this? By creating a buzz the very first weekend or the very first few days that they're going to come on the market, probably not allowing anybody to look at them until the open house, to create a buzz and sense of urgency if they are able to attract as many people, because first of all, the property was priced correctly, they did the right marketing and they attracted the right people, and everybody came at the right time. Then if you get an offer, we as agents don't have any control of that if you accept this offer or not. But I want to tell you today that based on the market, usually the first offer is your best offer, because these people that came out have a sense of urgency and they really, really, really love your house and they're afraid to lose it. So then most of the time they're going to put the best effort because because they've been looking at properties and they decided to put an offer on your property the very first day that came on the market. I will advise you that if your agent vetted those buyers, the buyer's agent, meaning they did the phone calls to make sure that they actually can qualify to buy this property, they have a pre-approval letter, they're having a strong earnest money to put down, and you verified with the actual lender that this person in fact can close on this property because they have been underwritten, I will tell you, my friend, you should take this offer. And the reason I'm telling you this is because right now you're not my client. So the best advice that I have for you is do not hesitate. Don't think because you got an offer on the very first day. This is what most people think. Oh, if I got an offer today and it was this fast and so good, maybe if I wait a little longer, maybe I have better offers. That's not how real estate actually work. The way that real estate work is most people feel that the most value is when they first come, when the house come on the market. Because, for example, let's say that you're gonna go and look at a property with your buyer's agent, and you know that 10 people came through that open house, and you see a lot of interest with what the conversations that are happening as you walk through the property, and you realize that 2 or 3 people are talking to the agent and say, we might gonna put an offer in this property. Then guess what? You will have your best offer up front because you don't want to lose the property, right? Well, let's say that the same property has been on the market at the same price, but now the same property has been on the market for 3 months. What would motivate you as a buyer to put in at asking or above asking after this property has sat here clearly for 3 months and it hasn't sold? Then you as a consumer will say, well, maybe I will put in a lower offer. So I just want you to paint this picture. It is the very first day, the very first week, first 2 weeks when a house is the most attractive to potential buyers. So if you get an offer, my friend, and your agent did their due diligence and find out and do all of their background checks to make sure that it's a strong offer, that person can in fact close on the property, that, my friend, is probably the best offer you will get. So don't take it for granted. Trust me, don't take it for granted. You just don't want any offer to wait for a best offer. You want to make sure that's just not how homes are sold now. Now, another thing that I want to tell you is that we as agents don't have that much control over is you have to have a little bit of more flexibility when you're showing up, when you are on the market selling the property. You need to start detaching that, yes, this was your home, but now this is just a property and this is gonna be a transaction that's gonna disrupt your lifestyle. It's gonna disrupt the way that you do things and your schedule. So this is when agents need the most flexibility and need your help to make sure. Let me tell you, this has happened in the past. First of all, you need to understand where you live. You live in South Florida. So I had 2 buyers that came out of state and they only had a few days to look at properties. So they had there was this beautiful property that was perfectly priced and would have been the perfect property for them, but the owner only announced showings in one day, at a certain day of the week, at a certain time. Then they missed 2 serious buyers who have flown out of state that had other properties that they wanted to see, but they could have potentially put an offer on this property, but they just didn't feel comfortable until they actually walk through the property and get the feel for it. Because you need to understand this is a very expensive investment and people want to sometimes look at the property. And you, by the way, you want the clients to actually get to see your home because you don't want somebody to put in an offer and then back out during the due diligence because they didn't realize that this is not the property that they really thought it was. Now, how does that flexibility plays into place? Well, buyers are busy too, and they have the time that they have. And if they're coming out of state to look at properties, trust me, I've done this with many of my military buyers. They come out and say, Betty, we're going to fly. This has happened to me. We're going to fly on Friday. I need you to show me properties on Saturday because that's the only day I'm going to be there, because Sunday we're going to fly right back out because we need to go to work on Monday. And I have my clients, they have looked at the properties only one day. They found a house. They leave the next day, Sunday. I do the paperwork to put in the offer. We Zoom, we talk about the offer, and then we'll put in an offer. That's how flexible you have to be, because you sometimes might only have a day for these buyers to come in, look at your property, to put in an offer. So you need to meet them where they are at. So that's what I mean. So this is what happened. Maybe you told your agent, oh, no, just let me know when they're going to come in so I could open the door. So how could you facilitate this? Maybe let your agent know that it's okay to put a lockbox outside of the property in a specific area. And then when a buyer's agent is ready to show a property, then the buyer's agent, if you're not in the property, which is advisable that you're not in the property anyway, that they have the flexibility to go and open it and show it. You just make sure that you have your home show ready, that you have any things that like medical or any prescriptions away, that you don't have any firearms outside, and that you don't have any valuables showing. That should be perfectly fine, because remember, these agents have gone through a better program to make sure that they're okay to come to your house. I mean, we get the fingerprints done and we get a background check to make sure that we are, able to actually go through people's property. So trust that these agents are going to do what's right. Now, another thing that you need to be aware, you have to have the right expectations in a shifting market. And this goes for buyers and sellers. So the difference between 2001, 2002, the beginning of 2002, and now is huge, guys. First of all, we didn't have enough inventory. APRs were super, super low. The interest rate was super low. And people were moving here to South Florida, to Florida in general. Now, this is not the case. The houses have not come down enough. However, the interest rate more than double than what we were having in 2021, 2022, making it very hard and unaffordable to a lot of buyers that otherwise would have able to qualify to buy property. Nowadays, not only the houses are still expensive, we have higher interest rates, but now because of this, we have more and more inventory. So the more inventory that we have on the market, the more choices that the consumer has. So they get a little pickier. So this is the problem that we're facing, that I need everybody to have the right expectations. So what sellers are thinking right now is they think that we're still in 2021, 2022, and they don't want to price their property and to the demands that we're having in the market, which is really low right now. They still want to place it really up here. The market is right here and they want to come up here. And they're assuming, they're under this false impression that they're going to have multiple offers, that they're going to have competition on the market, because when their neighbors sold 2 years ago, that's what they saw happen. They saw lines outside of the properties, lining up with buyers after buyers and multiple offers, and they sold above asking. Well, that right now it's not the same situations. Right here in South Florida, especially Miami area, we have around 80 days from the day people come on the market to the time that they receive an actual offer. So that is almost close to the 90-day mark, 3 months, guys. So you have to have the right expectations. Now, buyers, what happened is you guys think is 2008. We don't have a lot of like upside down properties. There's a lot of equity in these properties, and you're not going to have a deal because these people can refinance or they can just go ahead and rent their property and buy another one. You need to understand that these people are not losing their houses. You're not going to come and like try to put 100 or 200,000 below asking. We need to meet in the middle. And this is what I tell you. We have little control over people's expectations. So that's why I want to give it to you right now, right here. Have the right expectations. If you're a seller, your house cannot be priced over here. And you're going to believe that. You're going to demand your agent and believe that your agent isn't doing their job. But you need to help your agent to help you sell your house by having the right expectations and having the right price when you come out on the market. Because remember what I said earlier, the best time your property is the most valuable is the very first day, the first week, the first 2 weeks. After it comes to the third week on the market, you start to lose its appeal because now people think, we can wait. It's not that people are not trying to put offers on this property, so maybe I have time. So that's for you if you're the seller. But if you're the buyer and you're trying to put in an offer, just know that these people might not have to sell. They might opt to rent. So just keep that in mind. We need to meet in the middle. We're not back in 2008, but we're also not in 2021. We, if you didn't know, are in 2025. So get with the times and have the right expectations. Now, still Selling your home, it is a team effort, guys. I bring the strategy, the marketing, and the negotiations, but I need you to bring the flexibility, the awareness, and the trust in the process. So if we work together, we can get you the best results in today's market. Don't forget to share this episode with any friend who might be thinking about selling their home. And remember, Betty Gonzalez, your host in Building Connections Doral Talks. Thank you for tuning in today, and I hope to see you again next week. Have a great day and have a great weekend. Take care. See you then. Bye. Real quick, calling all Doral professionals, entrepreneurs, and community influencers. Are you ready to showcase your business, share your knowledge and experience with our engaged audience? Building Connections Doral Talks invites you to become a guest speaker on our podcast. Share your unique perspectives and inspiring stories with our listeners. We believe in the power of your voice in shaping the conversations right here in Doral. Click the link below to submit your information and be part of our next episode. Join us in building connections, sharing knowledge, and growing together. Don't miss this opportunity to be a featured guest on Building Connections Doral Talks. Tune in, connect, share, and grow together with Building Connections Doral Talks, reshaping the way we engage with the diverse voices of Doral, one guest at a time. Doral Talks, your voice, our community. Click the link now on the show notes, the screen, or in the comments below, or just scan the QR code to submit your information as a guest. I hope to see you soon. See you in the next podcast. Bye.